What's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Welcome to Woosah Wednesday. You guys already know what this is. This is Greenleaf. This is season 2. This is episode 13, Silence and Loneliness. Really good episode. We had a lot of meaty things happen in this episode. Some of the things that I was predicting seems like they're going to come true. And then a few other things that I thought was going to happen have been sort of dispelled in this episode. But we're going to talk about it a little bit, okay? Before we get going really good, remember to, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now, you guys. I promise you won't regret it. Give me a thumbs up. That thumbs up or thumbs down, but I prefer up, helps me out here on these YouTube streets. It's really, really important. I know you guys are hearing a lot of YouTubers say that, so I just want to reiterate, it's important. That thumbs up is important. So please rate my channel, okay? And of course, comment down below, you guys. Hash it out down below. If I forget anything, if you want to add anything, if you want to put your own perspective into it, down below is where you get it done. And y'all know how much I love talking with y'all down below. Okay, you guys, let's get into this episode 13. First, let's talk about Grace, you guys. Grace is on a run, and she's, running, and she stops to check her heart rate, and she hears, oh, and she looks behind her, and there's a young woman, fairly young, run past her in a little white dress, and she is, and she's running, and Grace is like, what? And she sees Mac walking up the road. And Mac says, she can't hear you. Now, we already know Mac is ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So Grace got to be dreaming. And as he walks up to her, she says, I didn't tell anyone, I swear. And he says, good girl. And then she wakes up out of her dream. Grace, girl, you got to take your power back. You got to take your power back. Right, wrong, or indifferent, taking someone's life will take its toll on yours, okay? Got to take your power back. You got to rectify this situation. You got to get some therapy. You got to come to grips with what is going on in your own spirit, Grace. This is not going to bode well for you if you don't take your power back and get this all together. All right? Later on, she goes to see Lady May. They're going to do a senior citizen outreach, okay? And the minute Lady May sees her, she knows that she's like, oh, honey, another bad night. You didn't sleep. Grace is like, okay. She said, well, you don't have to do this. And Grace says, no, I want to. It's fine. Right. We just put our face together. This is how we build a Lady May, okay? We take all our pain and all of our aggression and we squish it down below. And we keep a good face on until we get to be Lady May's age. And then we just as venomous and villainous as we can possibly be. Right, Grace? Okay. So Lady May is happy. They go on. When they get to the senior center, she meets a big mama there, and the big mama tells her, I used to have a caregiver that wasn't so nice to me. She was mean. She was rough. And Grace is like, what did you do? She said, I told the manager. I told the manager, and they got rid of her. She said, that's something I've always learned is somebody's treating you wrong, they hurt you, they're not doing right about you. You need to speak up. It's only right to speak up. And so this is a note for Grace, and she puts a pin in that. Later on, she decides to go back to the scene of the dream. And she is there this time in real life, and she is looking around, and she comes up on this abandoned shaft, and she's standing there at the shaft, and she begins talking to herself, except her voice, the voice that is coming out of her conscious, out of her spirit, okay, has Mac's voice. Okay, this is where guilt and shame gets together, and if you're not careful, it will overtake you. It will overtake you and become a monster that you cannot control. Grace, you got to talk about this thing. You got to figure it out, okay? And this is her voice. These are her words, but it's Mac's voice. Don't even think about telling. It's too late for that now. People will be so mad if you told this now. This is a secret you might as well take to your grave. Don't tell nobody about this. Now, it's been so many years ago. Why bring this up? This is in Mac's voice. Her words, but Mac's voice. Later on, we see her call Darius, okay? And she asks, invite him over. Now I'm thinking, oh, okay, she finally finna get Darius some pastoral nookie. But no, she want to tell him the truth about her and Mac. And this is where we all learn that in that shaft, Mac tried to attack her, sexually assault her. She fought him off and ran. But she never told a soul. She never told Faith. She never told when Faith told what happened to her. She never told her mama. She never told Mavis. She ain't never told nobody. And the guilt, a lot of the guilt she feels about killing Mac and Faith being dead, and all of this is because she never said what happened to her. Now, what happened to her would have confirmed Faith's story, okay? And kept her mama and daddy from acting like child boom, honey boom, okay? It would have kept her from going over to Mac's house because Mac would have been put in jail a long time ago. It would have kept all these other women from getting, maybe, possibly getting molested as well. And she tells him she feels all of this shame. She feels all of this guilt about not having said anything. And I don't know what to do. I feel so bad. You're the first person I ever told. I feel so bad about it. And he said, you just did what you needed to do, which was to release that secret, to take all of the power out of the secrecy and the secrecy out of the situation and tell it. That is what you did. Okay. And it's a moment where she realizes releasing this thing and taking the sting, taking the stigma out of it is how you're going to overcome it. It's how you're going to be able to hear God more clearly as opposed to Mac and really walk in your true calling, Grace. This is one of the things that was anchoring you down and keeping you in this unstable place. And I just want everybody to just really take a note from that. Okay. If you got something going on in your life and it's anchoring your spirit down, it's keeping you from soaring and being the best person you can be, release it. Release it and embrace whatever comes from that. But your power is going to come, okay, from cutting that rope and dropping that anchor and being able to float back up to the surface of your life. That's all I got to say about that, you guys. And that's grace right there. Okay. So now let's talk about Zora real quick. Zora riding along with Isaiah. Okay. Now y'all remember last episode he was being heavily manipulative about her going to the cotillion rehearsal and not answering his phone calls. Little by little by little by little, he is squelching her down. Any type of shine that she has, he's smothering it. He's covering her up. He wants to keep her in this small little place. He doesn't want her to have any shine. You're my pet. You're my possession. Okay. And I am in control of everything. If it brings you joy, I must smack it hard to the ground so that you realize I am your only source. Okay. I'm your only resource for happiness. All right. Okay. This is essentially what this behavior is teaching her. It is teaching her that she cannot find happiness anywhere else outside of Isaiah. And if she has the audacity to do so, he will find a way to punish her, whether it's being short and curt with her on the phone or slamming on brakes and smashing her head into the Mickey Fricky dashboard, okay, and leaving a giant bump and bruise on her head. Now, let me tell y'all something. If you have not created an environment where your child, your niece, your nephew can come to you, okay, without being judged, without you going off, flying off the handle, and talk to you earnestly about what someone has done to them or what they have done to someone else, then you're doing yourself and your child or your niece and your nephew a disservice. All right? There is no reason that Zora should have to go through this all by herself. It's no reason. It's no reason she should be going through this because your mama and your daddy are supposed to be so invasive in your life, so invasive in your phone, in your computer, in your schoolwork, that you have very little room to be snatched up by the snares of the enemy. Later on, when Zora come in the house and she tell her mom and daddy peace, she got to go pee. She runs right past. She trying to hide this scar on her head where he has stopped. Okay, and the reason why he did it is because he decided to have a concert on the same day as the cotillion, and he knows she want her to go to that she want him to go to the cotillion and go ahead and because this cotillion is bringing her joy. It's her thing and not his thing. He doesn't want her to do it, so he's gonna do this concert and tells her to skip the cotillion. She was like, I can't skip the cotillion. I guess I'll go with somebody else. Well, who you gonna go with? I don't know. Slams on brakes. Her head hits the dashboard and leaves a giant bruise. So later on, when she go in the house and goes in the bathroom and close the door and goes to put makeup on, nobody's at that door. Nobody's right there at that door trying to say, what's going on? What's happening? You've been breezing past me a lot lately. What's going on? Jacob, then you tell Carissa that you had to kick this dude out of her bedroom? Y'all ain't having no commitment. Y'all know how I feel about the children. Y'all know how I feel about the children. I just don't understand. I don't even have children, but I promise you, my niece and nephew, y'all can ask them any day, anytime. They'll tell you, Auntie didn't play that. Okay, so Charity, hot in the puss. She desperate. She jealous hearted and spoiled rotten, just like I said. Now they standing there with a client who Charity has done the demo for and written the song for, and that's it. That's like selling somebody curtains, and then you come to their house and you tell them how they hang them and tell them what furniture to put with the curtains. No, you just sell the curtains and let them do their own creative process. Well, that's what this lady is doing. Well, not only is she upset because the lady is changing her song a little bit, rearranging it a little bit to suit her and to suit her needs, which is the product for the customer. She being all salty and bitter and jealous. And later on, when the girl invite her to dinner, she act like, well, if the dinner includes me. And the girl was like, yeah, come on, girl, you wrote this great song. This is to celebrate you. And she's like, well, I guess I'll show up. And when he kissed the woman, hugged the woman and kissed the woman on the cheek, and he kissed in the jawbone area. That's a very friendly kiss. Anything down here is suspect, and anything close to this area is suspect. But jawbone, I think, is the friendship zone. I'm pretty sure of it. And she gets jealous, and she want to know, Jabari, what's going on between us? Do you like me? And he was like, of course I like you. We work together. She was like, no, you like me, like me. I was like, are you a mom? Have you been a wife? You're an adult. Be professional. Come on, Charity. Okay, just because you the baby don't make you a baby. You like me, like me? And he was like, listen, let's work on this song. Let's figure this out first. Let's get this money, get this bread. Shout out to Stevie J and Rocks for his rocks. Let's get this bread and then we'll talk. And she was like, fine. So later on, when they sitting at the piano and she's working on this hook and she wants him to hear it, and he says, no, no, no. Let's talk about this whole situation. You got a son and you don't want a child. Exact opposite. I don't want to go into this relationship cavalier. I want to be sure this is something that we both want to do. Okay, because I take it very seriously. But yes, I do like you. I like you, like you. And then he tongues her down. Okay. All right. Okay. That's Charity. All right, so let's talk about Lady May, Bishop, Carissa, Jacob, Lady Skanks, and Bishop Skanks. All right, this is the meaty part of this episode. Let's dive into it. Now, Carissa has gone and told Bishop and Lady May about the whole Basie Skanks, Bass, gambling Bass situation and all of that. All right, and she's provided proof. Only thing she want is out of the whole kit and caboodle is for Basie Skanks to sign over the church to Jacob. Because, of course, you in charge of Jacob, you in Jacob's life. You have decided to usurp Jacob's authority and go and tell what he has told you not to tell. And then take over the reins and bring him off the street corner, which he has already said the Lord spoke to him about that. And he told you about that. But no, you want him to have a big congregation in church because that fits in with your lifestyle, Carissa. But I digress. When she tells Bishop this all she want, Lady May goes ahead and pulls her coattail. We all realize that you didn't do this just for our sake. We realize that you had an agenda. And it's low-key shade, and Carissa catches every bit of it and pulls it back a little bit because she realizes she's in a very vulnerable place. First of all, you haven't told Jacob. You can't piss Lady May and Bishop off because you need they help in doing this takeover, this coup. All right. And also, you don't want them to go back and talk to Jacob about what you've done. You want to be the first to talk to Jacob. So you got to play it cool here. Okay, of course, of course. And kisses on the cheek and goes on. And later on, when she walks out, Lady May says, you do know that that's not gonna be triumph. Yeah, that's gonna be cavalry too, right? And he said first things first. So they have an agenda with Carissa, and then they have an outside agenda that it just includes them and their benefit. Okay, of course. When you dance with the devil by the pale moonlight, oh, what tangled webs we weave when first we practice to deceive. Anything you do that starts out wrong, I promise you the finish of that thing will also be wrong. Okay? All right? Okay. So Bishop gets in his mind that he gonna go over there and he gonna tell Skanks off and tell him what the dealio is and tell him that he got proof and set him out of his own church right there. Skanks is like, if you don't get the out of my church, who told you this, Jacob? And he was like, and he said, get out. Skanks said, get out. Okay, I wouldn't even be in this situation if you hadn't messed my life up by killing my dad in the beginning. And Bishop is like, excuse was like, you don't come in here peacocking yourself around thinking you so such and much. Get out, Spectre. Gone. Get. And Bishop was like, get out. He goes on. And he leaves and goes over to Carissa's. Meanwhile, Skanks is on the phone trying to sell Carissa's painting. I mean, Lady Skank's painting. The one that Lady May recommended kind of sort of through the Decor magazine. Well, he trying to sell it, okay? And in walks the bookie's bodyguard, Muscle. And he mollywops him up. And he's a bloody mess. And he got a couple of cracked ribs. He can't even take a good deep breath in without it hurting him. And we see Lady Skanks is there. She is like, oh, Basie, why would you let him do this to you, Basie? I don't understand, Basie. Why didn't you quit when I told you to, baby? Why didn't you quit? And he is just like, I know. I should have. He's hurt. He's stunned. He is caught between a rock and a hard place. Okay? He is in a serious situation. He is so close to letting go of that rope and falling deeper into this hole. I mean, you could just see it on his face. Her crying, being upset, the whole nine. Well, she leaves there and she goes over to Carissa's house, which Bishop is there, telling Carissa that it didn't go the way he planned. He not sure what he gonna do. And she walks, they have beat my baby's beautiful face in. I just don't understand. Please help me, please. So Bishop takes Lady Skanks back over there. And they convince Skanks to sign the church over to Jacob and then turn himself in Monday to the police for the embezzlement and the illegal activities, okay? And go ahead on Sunday and sign the church over to Jacob. And that way you can keep your dignity and you can go out the way you want to go out. And Skanks at first is just like, no, because Bishop is like, son, you got to listen. Son, he's like, don't call me son. Why would you call him son and you killed his daddy? Come on, Bishop. And Lady Skanks say, please. Please, baby, do it for me. Please, baby. I understand if you don't want to do it for you, do it for me, baby. And he says, okay, I'll do it. And when he did, all of the light went out of his eyes. And it's at this moment I realized Skanks really does love his congregation. He really does seem like he loves the ministry. As much as he comes across as sort of a snake oil salesman, this was a very, very good episode for Skanks, and it showed him in a different light. Now, I do think he's going to be the JR of this show, meaning who shot JR, meaning somebody is going to end up killing him. But at the same time, I do appreciate seeing Skanks in a different light. All right. So later on, we see Bishop assuring Lady May. Lady May is like, I want this all neatened up and wrapped up and buttoned up and taken care of and all legal-like so we can move on to what we need to do. And Bishop kind of assures her. And Lady May, although she being really, really nice to Gigi, She is being ruthless. The same old ruthless Lady May she is with everything else. That's what she's doing in this situation. And she's like, you got so much guilt and shame about a situation. You act like you can't tell it. He was like, you know what? I'm trying to be careful. Okay. Okay. We also see Carissa finally telling Jacob because Jacob was about to get a call from Skanks. Okay, so Carissa finally tells Jacob, he said, why would you do that? Why would you go and share what I expressly told you not to share? And she's just like, boo, 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 boo. You gonna thank me when you see what they finna give you, what they finna roll out for you. That's not the point, Carissa. That's not the point. That's not the point. You have a covenant connection with this man. You guys have agreed to work together. He told you expressly not to talk about this. Okay, he told you expressly this is the path he wants to take. But because of what you want for yourself, you have decided to usurp his authority. Okay, and go over his head. It's going to bite you in the butt, Carissa. It's going to bite you in the butt. All right. So when Skanks called Jacob, Jacob told him he don't want the church. And Skanks was like, no, this ain't about you. It ain't about me. It's about God's business. And so he invites Jacob in. Jacob comes into the church and talks to Skanks, and Skanks lays it out. We've got all these programs that I've started that I'm passionate about, and I know you're passionate about them too. We got some programs that we the only participants in, and that'll give us a chance to take the lead on a situation. God is calling you to do this, and I think you should do it. Okay, so Jacob is just like, I don't know, why should I do it? And he said, listen, do it for the people. Do it for the people of God. And do it because you're my brother, and I trust you to do it. It's a good moment. It's a good moment. Now, put a pin in it because we see Lady May a couple of times this episode, but she doesn't have as much pivotal role. When her and Grace were headed over to the singing center, the secretary tells her that Mr. Jeffries was on the phone, and she blows him off. Y'all know Mr. Jeffries is Lionel Jeffries, which is Aaron Jeffries' father, and also somebody else important to the Greenleaf family. But we're going to talk about it. Okay, so Basie's been beaten and he's been defeated and he's decided to concede. Now we get to the place where he is coming up on Sunday. It's Sunday morning and he's about to make this great announcement where he tells the congregation. Now, Jacob has talked with Carissa about the situation, and he has told her that he is going to do this, but he wants her to pray with him. And when he tells her he wants her to pray with him, she say, why? I was like, girl, did you? I don't, girl. If my enemy asked me to pray with them, I would probably say why. But if my husband asked me to pray with him, I don't think I would hesitate, Carissa. But I think we saw a long time ago that it was never ever about the preaching for you. It's about status for you. And I stand by that. Okay? I stand by it. All right, so Bishop is leaving. He's headed off to see. Anyway, the mantle being handed over to Jacob from Skanks. And he sees Sophia and he commits to take Sophia to the cotillion to stand instead of her father. Really sweet moment. The only time we see Sophia the whole episode. So we at church, Zora's there, Lady May, Bishop is there. They all sitting there front row. On the pulpit is Lady Skanks, Carissa, and Jacobs, and Skanks is standing at the pulpit, and Skanks begins to talk, and it is emotional. Lady Skanks is tearing up. Bishop Skanks is tearing up. And you can tell he just comes out and he says it. He doesn't do take a text first and do a script, a whole sermon first, and then says it at the end real quick. He just says, "Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I've sinned against you. I've sinned against God, but I'm hurting you guys is the hardest part. Leaving you guys is the hardest part. But I'm leaving y'all in good hands." And he calls Jacob up. It's a really, really good moment, and Carissa's very proud. Meanwhile, all this crying and sort of hesitation and sadness and all of that, we see Skanks and we see Bishop and Lady May holding hands across Zora's lap like, yeah, we got this mother sucker now. It's a very, very distasteful moment to see between the two of them. Very, very distasteful. And later on, we see Lady May and Bishop going back to the Bishop Skank's office, okay, where they finna put the final nail in the coffin. But they find Lady Skanks there and she is crying. And oh, what's going on? Bishop says he left, didn't he? She said, yes. I tried to beg him to stay, but he wouldn't stay. Now, y'all know Lady May and Lady Skanks have had some issues. Okay, so she is being very, very, she's smiling like a Cheshire cat. She feel like she's one up this lady in more ways than one. Not only have we discovered that your husband is a ne'er-do-well and you are exposed, but also we have commandeered y'all church. So, toodaloo, poo poo. Anyway, they having a little party, a little going away party, and she's got to go to the going away party. And it's Lady Skanks and save face and just try to hold it together. Meanwhile, Lady May's like, poor dear. So this is gonna be Jacob's office. Well, I guess I could do something, a chenille throw, or some beautiful silk curtains, a Afghan rug. And she is just like, I don't even care. I don't even care about the lives that I have destroyed. Let's talk about all that I have, acquired during this conquest, right? And Bishop get a phone call. Who's on the phone? Who could it be? It's Lionel. Lady May face crack. Why does it crack? Because it's the second time he calling. He calling because he want to get something off his conscience. That which he want to get off his conscience is going to be quite the nugget. All right? I can't wait to hear what that is. Well, he tells Bishop he need to talk to him. We need to talk. Okay? So next week we're going to see Jeffries come down there. Now, this is the last scene. Leaves off with Lady May face being cracked and Bishop trying to figure out what Lionel could possibly want. This was a really, really good episode, you got. I learned so much more about Skanks in terms of how he really, really felt about the church. Like I said, he always seemed like a bit of a charlatan to me, but he came across really, really earnest and genuinely hurt when he was telling the church about the fact that he was stepping away. And the intro that he gave Jacob was beautiful. It really, really was. Although I couldn't help but notice when he was talking to Jacob in his office, he kept saying, we, what we have planned, what we are going to do. All right. So, I'm just wondering how that's going to play out with the rest of this season. We don't have very, very many episodes because we know October 4th and 5th, Queen Sugar comes back. And we already know that there's always a little bit of a hiatus between shows. So we probably have one, maybe two more episodes of Greenleaf to go before this whole thing blow up, she waits. All right, so I'm looking forward to the last few episodes of this season. You guys tell me what y'all thought. What do y'all think about this whole Zora situation, you guys? To watch it play out, how these things happen, how our daughters become entangled up with the enemy so deeply. We're so involved in our own thing that we don't pay attention to how our children are being targeted by predators and manipulators and that old pimp spirit wooing them away. You know what I'm saying? Like that really, really bothers me. I'm really, really glad to see this moment with Grace because I think her releasing this secret and putting it out there is going to help her. I think we're going to see a stronger, more emboldened, more purposeful, more powerful Grace after she has made this announcement. All right. And what y'all think about Lionel, y'all? Lionel finna blow up the spot. Okay. I cannot wait. All right, you guys. Again, you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. Give me a thumbs up. It's important. And let's talk about it down below, okay? Until next time, honeybees. I holla.